So the right thing to do about a sales pitch is actually who are you selling to? Try and answer that question first. So I would broadly split, for an Indian startup, I'd broadly split your consumers into three. I mean, a B2C, a B2B kind of a product. So one would be an owner who's wanting to buy from you, or an owner of a business whom you're trying to pitch to that you should buy my product. The second is management or people who work in that company, like the marketing manager or the IT manager or people like that. And the third is in markets outside India. Coming to the first thing, when you're pitching to an owner, don't get into too many details. I think the owner of the business would probably have a maximum of 45 minutes to an hour to take a decision with you. So the best thing to do there is actually dive straight into saying what are the key advantages that you as a product would bring to them. Sales growth, reducing attrition, increased, better profitability, reduced cost, whatever it is. And talk to them about businesses that have worked with you. Talk to them about references. So you should avoid getting into too many demos, or you should avoid getting into too many details when you're trying to sell to an owner. So your pitch should be more structured at a global level of saying, this is what the product does at a global level. No need of any screenshots or no need of any demos being given out there. It should tell about what is the exact quantifiable return that the owner can expect, or the proprietor, or whoever is the CEO. A CEO is also like an owner, so should expect from the business if he signs up with you. Now coming to the second lot, which is the management team in the company. Now this is a group where you'll have to get into a little bit of more details. You'll have to be more focused on how the product works. Because in a lot of cases, these are the guys who will have to then internally be convinced and then take it up to the owner, in case you don't get to the owner straight. And that's where I think you'll have to get into a little bit of more demos, more screenshots of the product, show them, take them. Like in our case, we actually used to take our initial, the first few guys we signed up with, we used to take the prospects to their stores actually to show them how the software works in stores. So the demo would actually be in a store, so that they had that much more confidence that it actually works. So essentially, your sales pitch will have to be very different for an owner and for a management team member. Again, when you're working with a management team member, you will need to get into more details on building an ROI model for them, which they can then share with the owner. The other feedback that I would have for businesses trying to sell in India is not an empowered country. So if it's typically a very family-run or an owner-run organization, please don't spend too much time at the lower levels of management. Try and get to the owner, talk to them. If the guy is interested, he will buy. If the guy is not interested, in India, we have a problem of saying no. So don't spend too much of your time with guys who say, okay, we will come back to you 3 months later or 6 months later. When the guy wants to buy, he will call you back and he'll buy. That's the way typical Indian entrepreneurs or Indian businesses work. While on the management, if it's a professionally run organization, it's very different. They would go through multiple levels of evaluation. They will put it on the budget. They will go ahead. So essentially, your sales pitch must be very different for a family-run organization and for a more professionally run org. Yeah. In terms of globally, we'll cover it in I think one of the later questions. But pick up this book called Spin Selling by Neil Rackham. When you sell globally, you want to understand what the guy's problem is, how are you going to solve it. It's a far more consultative sell than an ROI or a push-based sell, which really works well in India.